Hello everybody, what's happening? My name's Neil. Welcome along to Midlife Motors and welcome to my daily driver. 2013 Toyota Yaris. Had it for about two and a half years now. Yeah, 2.5 years now. It's a 1.3 petrol, 100 horsepower. It's been cheap, it's been reliable, and I think a few people are umming and ahhing about getting a daily driver like that. It's not particularly glamorous, but it allows me to have the other fun stuff. But there's a few things you need to know. So we're going to whiz around the car quickly now. I'm going to point out some good things, some bad things, and some things to check if you're going to get one of these cars, because these really don't hurt your pocket and do work all the time. Right, let's crack on. Okay, we're around the front engine bay. We're not going to do the engine just yet, because the first thing we need to talk about, because it's a Japanese car of a certain age, is rust. Don't know what it is with Toyota and Mazda, but just never seem to get on top of it quite as well as everybody else. So the first place is to look. This car's 9 years old now, so you know, you've got to take that into consideration. But the first place to check, this front crash bar. I've seen these pretty badly rusted. This one's okay, which is good. There's a lower crash bar at the bottom of the radiator. Check that also, because it has fixings for the under tray that goes underneath the car. Now I've seen some of those fixings just corroded away and just not there, which can cause that tray to be missing. Fortunately, this one's started, but it's not too bad. All the fixings are still in place. Whilst you're doing your checks under the engine bay here, the battery tray, check that one. Check that fixing still exists, because it does corrode quite badly. That one might need some attention shortly. Same on this side with the engine mount. The one at the bottom at the front here. The top one and the back one will be okay. Just check this one still exists and hasn't corroded away. Otherwise, under the front, everything else is pretty much okay. They do seem to be a lot better, have got on top of the likes of their doors, etc. Doesn't have any issues down here. Doesn't really have any issues around the arches either. When I'm cleaning the car, there's a lip under here which gathers quite a lot of crud. I do tend to make sure I get the jet wash in there just to blast it all out, particularly in the winter. Underneath the car is pretty good. There's quite a lot of aluminium trays, so if you hear rattles, it could be because one of the fixings on those has come loose or has rusted away. On this car, everything's in place. I've been under a few times and it seems to be pretty good. There is, though, one which I guarantee, whatever Yaris you're looking at, there will be rust right here. Guarantee it. This is the rear wash wipe. This is where the jet comes through, and this corrodes. They always corrode, every single one. Now, I'm halfway through doing a repair. Mine's got so bad that this is actually the rubber seal, which I've pushed through here, is not actually sealing around this now because of the rust. So I'm actually doing the repair now, because what happens then is water gets through and it drips out through this seat belt holder and gets this seat and this boot wet. The dog wasn't happy, so I'm actually repairing this now. But yeah, just check. I guarantee it will have that at more or less any age, so just be mindful of that. There we go. Bit of a bad start, but we'll come back to the engine now, because this is where the good stuff starts to happen. Really easy to service these cars. Air filter here. Hopefully in a minute up the top here a banner will pop out from the last time I serviced it. £45. OP Oils do a service kit. It's easy to do. Watch the video, you'll have it done in no time. They don't burn a drop of oil. It's a timing chain, so you don't have to worry about belts. Everything's good. Everything's good. The air conditioning as well, it works perfectly, ice cold still. So this is the bit you don't have to worry about. The engine, the gearbox, everything just works perfectly, requires little or no maintenance, and it's cheap. Before we jump inside, I just want to point out that these cars came on Dunlop SP Sports. Now, that's what they came from the factory with. When I got this car, it has some sort of crikey Russian remold on it, some ditch finder on it, and it drove it. The ride was terrible. It's a bit of a jiggly ride anyway, because it's a Toyota. That's kind of what you get. But once I went back to the Dunlops, it transformed the ride. Same profile, same size, but it transformed the ride. And the handling is miles better with these Dunlops, so look out for them. They're definitely worth it, and they weren't particularly expensive. Brakes were quite cheap. I replaced them a couple of years ago. Again, OP Oils did the whole lot for £120, so that was good. Now, whilst we're down here on the driver's side, I've had one particular fault with this car, which has reoccurred again. I've had to change the motor for the wipers. Is behind this, is in this wheel arch behind that plastic trim. Now, not long after I got the car, I had to replace the motor for the front wiper, and now the wiper for the motor for the rear wiper has stopped as well. Check your scooters work front and rear, because it's a bit of a pain to get to and it's quite expensive. Heading inside now, and you're going to be shocked. This is a good thing. You're going to be shocked when you try one of these cars at just how comfy these seats are. Absolutely superb. Done some long trips in this car and they're absolutely brilliant. So there's my first tick. Other ticks are the aircon, as I mentioned earlier. It's still ice cold, works perfectly. What else is good? I'll tell you a bad one. It doesn't have cruise control. That's really annoying. The Bluetooth for the phone works well, and the controls for the stereo work. You get a reversing camera which comes up. I don't know what's pointing there. You get a reversing camera in these cars as well, which comes up there, which is really handy. That's a handy thing to know. But yeah, easy to use, comfy place to be. The interior has worn really well. This car's done 35,000 miles, which isn't a lot, but the dog jumps in and out of it. I drive it every single day, so it does get tested pretty well, and it has stood the test of time excellently. Like many cars, the pollen filter for inside is behind the glove box here, so you have to take the glove box out. Now just be careful, there's a damper on the side here which you have to release to be able to drop the glove box out. It's easy to do, but that is easy to break. So when you're checking the cars, if you're trying one, make sure the damper on the glove box is still there, otherwise it's just going to bang straight back down, which will be a bit annoying. It's a small car, but from a practicality point of view, it's brilliant. The seats fold down, they split sort of 2/3, a third, however you want to call it. It's quite a low sill. Our dog jumps in and out of there quite easy peasy, and you can actually get quite a lot in here when you need to. Another neat touch as well, the rear belts clip away. That's clever. I like that. A couple of other things before we summarize it all. I'm averaging 48.8 miles per gallon, but mine's very much town driving. I don't travel far to work. Lots of cup holders in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cup holders in the front alone, so they're quite handy as well. The insurance on this car is not particularly hefty for me. It's on a policy with all the cars, but I think this one only adds about £100. It's little or nothing. It doesn't seem to wear much. It does, and I'm talking about tires, brakes, that sort of thing. Handbrakes still fine. Hasn't picked up an awful lot of stone chips either, I've noticed. So, and whenever I wash it, it seems to polish up okay, which is good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. A cheap and cheerful car that doesn't take up much of my money or my time, allows me to spend it on the other cars. But just check for the rust. Do the rust check things. The things you can see on the outside, under the bonnet, the rear tailgate, underneath is pretty safe. And just remember the good points: the Bluetooth, the comfort, the space, all excellent. Could really do with the one thing I miss though is cruise control. Doing smaller journeys, probably not quite so much, but there you go. Hey ho. Anyway, if that's been helpful, if you can give us a thumbs up, if you can subscribe below, that would be excellent too. And I shall catch you again next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.